Hello and welcome to EV Car Share. So, yep, I know I need my hair cut. It's a bit fluffy around the edges, probably picking up on that one. It's quite sunny. It's a lovely sunny March day. I'm on my way into the office and today I'm going to try something different. Hopefully this works. If it doesn't, then you won't see this video. If it does and you're seeing this video, then fantastic. So I do a fixed mount on the windscreen with a suction cup for my GoPro, and I film either myself like this or I film ahead normally. But today, and then I have a kind of a second camera on a stick that I can use to kind of show you things on the screen, dashboard, etc., sat nav. that's how I run things. But today I want to talk about and show you the automated driving capabilities of a car. So things like the automatic steering when it follows lanes, and the speed control when it follows cars on the cruise control, the adaptive cruise control. So it's lane follow assist and adaptive cruise control that I want to look at really. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this mounted camera here that's mounted to the windscreen currently facing towards me. I'm going to stick it on there and face it that way, and hopefully you're going to get a me eye view. So yeah, the point of view, POV, first person view, whatever you want to call it. So from here it should hopefully not show me, it should show you where we're going. It should show you the steering wheel, the buttons, the dashboard, all that I see. So I can talk about what it's showing on the dashboard. You can see the steering wheel moving itself and see what's ahead of me in terms of traffic for slowing down and speeding up in traffic and things like that. So that is the plan, and hopefully it will go well. So let's have a go. Okay, so that's what you can see. You'll probably see a lot of this. This is the A-pillar. I think they call it the A-pillar in a car manufacturer. Anyway, let's get going. We'll sit around talking if I can be driving. Now, if you think you can see a lot of that, and it's getting in your way, in your vision, it's obscuring what you can see, then obviously sorry, nothing I can do about it. But also just kind of make a note that is one of the downsides of this car. The Kia EV6 is very chunky over here. You do find when you're manoeuvring around car parks or pulling out of gaps and things like that, you do need to really move your head around and make sure that you are seeing past things, or seeing past the frame of the car and seeing things, because it's very easy to miss stuff in this car because of that. Visibility out the front is not great, let's say. And hopefully there will be a gap in a moment and I'll be able to pull out of here, because this is busy. After that lorry, I think. Yeah, it's going to be all good. And we're back on the road. So we want to talk about lane follow assist and cruise control and so on. So at the moment I'm just driving. I have nothing on in that respect. Hopefully you can see both my dashboard and my steering wheel. I'll just let this van go past so I can pull out from behind the truck. There we go. So if we're moving along like this, sorry, don't know what that was. So if we're moving along like this, we have an option of putting on the cruise control. This is a reduced speed limit part of dual carriageway here. This is on the A1, just south of Buckden. So I'm going to put on the cruise control, press this button on the steering wheel here, just there. That's now put on the cruise, and it is set to what I was travelling at when I pressed the button. So in this case that's 62 miles per hour. If I want to reduce that down, then I can use this button here. So I've reduced that down to 60. And if I want to speed it up, I can go the other way, so I'm back to 62. So Sorry, I don't know what's got into my throat. So we're travelling along now at 62. If I want to add the lane assist or lane follow, I can press that button there. And we have some corners coming up here, which I know it normally does very well. So if I just allow it to follow that corner, you can see it's doing that by itself. It's telling me to keep my hands on the steering wheel, which it does. And then it follow the corner around the other side as well. And it's a little bit jerky, it's not quite as smooth as you or I would do it. But you have to accept it's not a human being. So I think we often expect robots or automated things to be better than human beings. Not really the case. It's amazing how good the human body is. It's astonishing if you really think about it, how well we can do stuff as humans. So that's taken me around both of those corners. So what you get when you, I didn't really have time, but what you get when you put the lane follower on is this little steering wheel icon on the dash here. It turns up kind of grey colour to start with, or whitish grey like the white, and then it turns green when it's logged on or snapped onto the lane. So when you've turned it on, it could be white, and then when you've actually got the lane being followed, it will turn green to show it's active. Now it won't necessarily always stay green. It's not a 100% capable system. It's following the lanes based on a camera up in the upper part of the dashboard. And if the camera is not seeing the lane for some reason, then it will give up and it will turn white. It will no longer follow your lane. So you have to keep an eye on it. You have to just be aware that it may suddenly stop following. And that's one of the reasons why the car tells you to keep your hand on the steering wheel if you haven't been touching the steering wheel for a while. It's not a touch sensitive steering wheel, it's a pressure, so you need to be just giving it a slight nudge every so often to prevent it from telling you that message, thinking you're not holding the steering wheel. Now there you may have noticed that my cruise control slowed down, so as those two cars, as the lorry and the other car pulled out to allow people in, my cruise control saw them and slowed down. Again, up ahead here we will have more traffic. Actually I will slow down because we are entering a 40. So let's just slow that down. So I was holding the button down there on the cruise and it went down in 5s. It goes down one by one if you just give it a nudge. It goes down in 5s if you hold it. Now I know this car reads slightly high, so 43 I'm doing at the moment. On my car scanner that's reading back as 39.77. So around 44 will keep me at 41 now. So just to be aware of the cruise control, as with most of the cars, the car reads slightly high, so you may want to set your cruise control slightly higher than the speed limit, knowing that you're actually therefore on the speed limit, as I am at the moment. Let me pull back in because there's a guy behind me in a Skoda who wants to go faster. I'll let him past. He's obviously not wanting to follow the speed limit, or she. I don't want to be sexist about these things, do I? I'm sure women are just as capable of breaking the law as men. The reason I'm in the right lane, by the way, is because this is the lane I need to be in at the roundabout when we get there. I don't like to pull in after the traffic has slowed down. People don't like to let you in if they think you're trying to jump the queue or trying to move between queues, faster queues and slower queues, of course. So here the cruise control is on 45 at the moment as we're going through this roadwork section, and then as we come out the other end there should be some traffic and we'll see it slow down based on the traffic. I'm just going to leave it turned on. I'm going to allow it to control its own speed. One function you have here as well is the distance from the car ahead. So this shows on the dash here. So it recognises the car ahead, that's the grey car, but it's not actively following that car. Now it's actively following that car, it's gone white. So you can see now the speed is starting to go down from my set point. I'm now 42 even though I set 45. That's because I'm actively following this car ahead. I can change the length of that following as well, so I can change between 4 different distances to maintain to the car in front. And now as the traffic is starting to slow down for the roundabout and we're starting to queue, so my speed is slowing down and slowing down and slowing down and slowing down. I'm not touching the brakes, not the regen brakes, not the foot brakes, no brakes, but we're slowing down, getting down to 20, slowing down even further, now down to about 10, there we go, below 10, and now we're crawling. So the car has done that itself. It's recognised that there's a car ahead. That's denoted by the little white icon there. I'm using the 2 distance level 2 to the car ahead, which seems to be holding me quite nicely. And the car came to almost a complete stop there. So it came to a stop, but it didn't put its own handbrake on or anything like that. It didn't come to a it was more of a pause rather than an actual stop. And then it got going again. At this point you can of course adjust the cruise control set speed, so I could put that back down to 40 if I wanted to. It's irrelevant because the car won't go up to that. By changing the speed you are not resetting the cruise. It's not going to suddenly lurch forward again. It's locked onto that car in front. It knows that we're doing no more than the car ahead. If I'm using the cruise at speed on a motorway, then I will always set the distance to level 1 distance, so the closest distance. Otherwise it will slow down way ahead compared to what it needs to do. In traffic, where you may need to come to a stop and where things are a little bit more erratic, like this, where people may be pulling in front of you and things like that, then I find that maybe 2 or 3 is a little bit better. Of course, that's a setting that will be personal preference, and it's something that you won't want to necessarily just set and forget. That's why it's on the steering column here. Steering column? That's the steering column. On the steering wheel here, allowing you easy access to make changes to it. I think that van wants to pull into this lane, which is a bit unfortunate. I would normally let somebody in like that, but at the moment I'm trying to keep the adaptive cruise running. Okay, so this has come to a complete stop this time, and over there it now says use switch or pedal to accelerate. So I either need to press the accelerator pedal or I need to press the speed up on the cruise to get going again. Once you've come to a complete stop, it will do that. I believe it's a safety feature. I don't think it wants to be stationary for any length of time and then suddenly start moving, because people who are outside the vehicle who don't know what's happening, maybe a pedestrian or a cyclist or a horse rider or somebody might be passing in front or close by the vehicle, might have the hand on the vehicle or something like that, and if that's the case and it suddenly moves of its own accord, then there could be a danger. If the driver is being asked to set it going again, then it's up to the driver to make sure they've done all the appropriate checks, left and right shoulder and mirrors and so on, as you would do when pulling away, as the highway code requires. So we're still on lane follow as well. You can see that's on green. So I'm not needing to direct the car. Every so often when it tells me that there is a need for my hands to be on the steering wheel, I need to give it a little nudge. Or make sure that I'm resting my hands on the steering wheel so that it feels a nudge. I sometimes like to just rest my hand like this, just on the, I don't know what part, the central part of the steering wheel, just to kind of rest the hand there, and that provides enough weight on the steering wheel for it to know that I'm there and holding. Again, come down to a stop as the traffic stops. If you're sat in traffic like this and you're not paying attention, let's say you are looking in the back where your children are in the car seats and trying to tell them something, and the car moves away in front, I'll do it this time, I'll just wait a little bit longer. You will get a message like that saying leading vehicle is driving on. So it recognises that the car has gone. It's telling you the car ahead that we're following has moved, and please get a move on, stop lingering. And then we come to a stop again. With the car being effectively like an automatic, i.e. there are no gears to change, if my cruise control here, instead of being 40, if I was set to 70, like a full speed limit on a motorway, and we were stopping and starting due to heavy traffic on a straight section of the motorway, then all of a sudden the flow of traffic cleared, which does sometimes happen. Then when I get started again, either from stopped here by pressing the button, or if the traffic starts moving from a crawl, it will do it itself, then the car will accelerate all the way up to that 70 mile an hour by itself. There will be no need for you to do any gear changes or anything like that. So on a manual petrol car with a gear stick and this type of adaptive cruise, there is only a certain amount of adaptive cruise it can deal with, because the car cannot change your gears for you. It has that, does not have that control. Obviously in an automatic, that's different. You can also do this in a petrol automatic, but in electric cars, because they are automatic effectively, or equivalent of, obviously they're not automatic, they're not changing any gears because there's no gears to change, which is why you get that really smooth acceleration from an electric car. But what you will find with the adaptive cruise is once that traffic moves, the car will move, and it will just continually move and keep going all the way up to 70. So you can go up to 70, back down to 30, up to 70, back down to 0, like I'm doing here in traffic, and the car can just do that all by itself, which is really neat. Okay, this is a little bit of movement. There's only a car length that, and then the lorry is going to move again. If you're thinking this is bad traffic, then yeah, this is what I get to put up with on my travel to work. This is a section coming up, or a roundabout coming up on the A1. They refer to as the Black Cat roundabout. It's called Black Cat, and I don't know why it began being called Black Cat, but on the roundabout for many years there's been like a figure of a black cat, like a statue. Call it a statue is probably a bit excessive, but whether or not the roundabout became named because of the figure, or the figure became put there because of the name of the roundabout, I think it's probably the latter. I think the roundabout probably got its name before the figure was attached to the roundabout. But what they're planning on doing here is they're going to remove the roundabout, and they're going to put in a proper flyover and a proper kind of high-speed main network road sort of interchange, which will be good. It will hopefully help my journey. So I guess that's all I want to really show. So I'm going to end the video here. I'm going to say thank you for watching. I'm going to say give it a thumbs up if you liked it. subscribe if you like my videos, and of course hope to speak to you next time.